Hi, it's me, Tom Hanks. So in a recent video, I listed 13 Going on 30 as an example of a bad romantic comedy. But some people in the comment section took issue with that, claiming that that film is a masterpiece. So I rewatched it, hoping to understand why it's so beloved. I mean, after all, it came out in 2004, which, and this is not a joke, was otherwise the greatest year in cinematic history. But, nope. It's still bad. Now, before I explain why this movie really didn't do it for me, let me just say that if you love this movie, I'm glad. I would always prefer to enjoy a movie, so I'm just envious that you got something out of it that I didn't. Plus, I'm the last person that should be judging somebody based on their movie taste because there are a lot of generally hated movies that I still really like. Also, I know, the last video was on a movie called 13, and this video's on a movie called 13 Going on 30. Maybe in the next video I'll look at 13th, Ava DuVernay's documentary on the mass incarceration of African Americans. That one in particular seems ripe with comedic potential. So the movie begins in the 1980s where we meet 13-year-old Jenna Rink, who's disappointed with her school photo. Relatable. Jenna's approached by the popular girls who are known as the Six Chicks.
Hey, Jenna.
And when I said this movie takes place in the 80s, I should have specified that it's a movie version of the 80s, because this is what the 80s actually looked like, whereas this takes place in some alternate timeline where everyone seems to have participated in the decade's most outrageous fashion trends. Makes you wonder how movies will depict the current decade in 20 years' time. That is, if our shrinking attention spans will still be able to handle movies in 2042. Also, Brie Larson is one of the Six Chicks, but I don't have a joke for it because I'm not stooping to the level of just saying, what's Captain Marvel doing here? I didn't know that actors could play more than one role over the span of their entire career. So the Six Chicks tell Jenna they'll come to her birthday party if she does her homework for them. Then, after learning Jenna envies the lives of adult women she reads about in magazines, we see her geeky friend Maddie come over to give her a homemade birthday gift.
You made all this? Oh, Maddie.
Yeah. See, that's you in your bubble bath reading your favorite magazine.
Oh, so he can make an elaborate gift for his crush and it's cute, but I do it and it's in violation of my restraining order. So he gives her this dollhouse and sprinkles glitter on the roof that he says is wishing dust. Then the Six Chicks arrive along with some popular guys and they trick Jenna into going into the closet blindfolded for a game of 7 Minutes in Heaven before ditching her. And I know kids can be mean, but bullies in movies and TV shows are on like another level, like they're the most sadistic human beings imaginable. Like, yeah, kids in middle school bullied me for being a little chubby, but that didn't affect me much. I mean, do I still almost never take my shirt off in front of people? Yeah, but that's only because I'm overdue for a touch-up on my chest tattoo. Anyway, after discovering she's been pranked, Jenna wishes to be an adult, and the wishing dust takes effect, causing her to wake up as 30 years old in the year 2004. And I have to give credit to the casting here. Krista Allen and Jennifer Garner 100% look like the same person, just at different ages. She leaves her bedroom to find she lives in a fancy apartment with her boyfriend.
Hey, sweet bottom, where's the conditioner?
You're naked.
Well, not yet.
And I know it's supposed to be funny that this guy is flirting with a woman he doesn't know is mentally 13, but I'm not laughing, I'm just uncomfortable. So let's move on. Jenna runs out of her apartment where she's greeted by her assistant Lucy, who takes her to work.
We have a meeting in 10 minutes, okay? I'm gonna tell you what to do. Repeat after me. I am Jenna Rink, big-time magazine editor. I am?
It's lucky she has such a stable job. It'd be a much more depressing movie if she discovered she grew up to be, like, homeless. Then again, I just remembered how big her parents' house was at the beginning. Yeah, she was never in danger of that. We meet Jenna's boss, Richard, who's played by Andy Serkis.
Richard, you're my boss.
That's right, baby. Who's your daddy?
Wayne Rink.
Wait, so you have Andy Serkis in your movie, the master of motion capture, and you have him playing just some human guy? That's officially my biggest problem with this movie. I need Andy Serkis to be playing a CGI monkey with no explanation, and everything else about this movie is forgiven. Anyway, Jenna is able to track down Maddie, who's now played by Mark Ruffalo.
Jenna.
Yes.
Jenna Rink.
Yes. Matt, it's me.
And the younger casting with him wasn't as impressive. That kid looks more like a 13-year-old Jon Favreau to me. Believing Jenna to have some sort of selective amnesia, Matt fills her in on the last 17 years.
I was a prom queen.
Yep.
And I went with Chris Grandy.
Yep. Yeah, Jenna, you got it all. Congratulations.
Okay, so Matt is clearly still bitter about what happened in high school, but dude, you're like 30. I'm only 4 years out of high school, and I don't hold a grudge about anything that happened. Except for maybe what my English teacher made me do. He made me read my short story at assembly, naked. Oh, we also learned that Jenna's assistant Lucy is the popular girl from the beginning grown up. It doesn't matter. Matt leaves and Jenna learns she has a work party that evening, which she gets ready for in a montage. At the party, Andy Serkis complains that the guests are bored, which Jenna remedies by playing Thriller. Oh, I get it, because she's from the 80s and so is that song. Kinda like how Captain America still calls women ma'am because he's from the 40s.
Agent Romanoff? It's Captain Rogers.
Ma'am?
Or how the citizens of Pleasantville are still sexist because they're from the 50s.
No wife. No lights. No dinner.
No dinner?
Or how Brandon Fraser in Encino Man acts like a caveman because he's from prehistoric times. It's always so hilarious when characters that are from the past still act like it's, you know, the past. Anyway, everyone at the party dances the Thriller, including Matt, who showed up, and here's a video of me dancing the Thriller when I was 14. Why'd I show you that? I didn't have to. Also, how did all these people know the dance? Because I know none of them went to my high school where learning it was a requirement. Shoot, maybe there's something from high school I am still angry about. Then there's a shopping montage. It's funny because she's a child and spends her money irresponsibly. It's funny because she's a child and spends her money irresponsibly. It's funny because he's a child and spends his money irresponsibly. It's funny because he's a child and spends his money irresponsibly. It's funny because he's a child and spends his money irresponsibly. Then there's a scene of Jenna hitting on a 13-year-old boy.
I actually came over here because I think you're really cute.
So do you want to go out sometime?
Oh, because she's mentally 13, funny. Imagine this was instead a movie about a 13-year-old boy who made a wish and woke up in the body of Ryan Gosling. Then there was a scene of Ryan Gosling hitting on a 13-year-old girl. Somehow, not as funny. And neither is this next scene where Jenna's hockey player boyfriend strips for her.
Now that the party is jumping, with the bass kicked in and the Vegas are pumping.
God, I'm surprised this was still okay in 2004. The next day at work, Andy reports that the company isn't doing well.
I've just come off the phone with corporate, and they have dropped the R word.
They said an ableist slur? Wait, I forgot that when this movie came out, the R word didn't refer to anything because people would just say it. A man Jenna has apparently been having an affair with stops by and kisses her, but she kicks him in the crotch. She could have just done that before he got to kiss her, you know? And then there wouldn't be a man kissing a girl that's mentally 13 in your movie. Jenna then overhears that Lucy hates her and plans to screw up a work project of hers.
I say we go ahead with our own presentation and let her fall on her ass.
Man, this is a long fucking movie. She then asks to go on a walk with Matt, where he complains more about high school.
You just stopped being my friend and you never spoke to me again after that, ever.
But as I said, I'm more forgiving now that I remember the Thriller thing. So Jenna apologizes for being so mean when they were younger before traveling to her childhood home where her still living parents comfort her. And you know what? I like this part. I relate to how sometimes being with your family can be exactly what you need in a rough time, and I like what Jenna's mom has to say about regret.
Well, Jenna, I know I made a lot of mistakes, but I don't regret making any of them. Because if I hadn't have made them, I wouldn't have learned how to make things right.
I'll give you guys this one. That's a good scene. Jenna hires Matt for her work project, which is inspired by their high school yearbook he showed her. Working together causes the two to grow closer. She's 13. She's 13. Did they need to kiss? Was that necessary? God, I can't believe I was complaining about the Chuck E. Cheese movie where everyone wanted to fuck a chicken. Jenna is then shown having a sleepover with all the preteen girls in her building.
Oh my god, goosebumps.
So all these girls' parents were okay with them sleeping over at a 30-year-old woman's apartment? I don't know, man. Gives too many Leaving Neverland vibes for me. The next day, Jenna's pitch for her high school-inspired project impresses.
Bravo!
It's almost as if her young imagination is exactly what the company needed. It's almost as if his young imagination is exactly what the company needed.
No, is he gay?
Are you gay?
Because if so, get the fuck away from me. I'm a teenager from 1986, so I'm blatantly homophobic. So Lucy tricks Matt into selling his photos to her so she can use them with another magazine. She also finds out Matt is getting married. He had a fiance I didn't mention. And yes, that means he cheated on her with a 13-year-old. Jenna gets in a taxi to stop the wedding, and her driver is a grown-up Chris Grandy, the guy she liked at 13.
Jenna Rink.
Yeah?
Chris Grandy. So what are you doing?
So you're telling me the guy who was popular in high school grew up to be a loser? So you're telling me the guy who was popular in high school grew up to be a loser? So you're telling me the guy who was popular in high school grew up to be a loser? She makes it to the wedding and confesses her love to Matt, but he says it's too late. He's marrying Wendy. He does, however, have something to give Jenna. He kept the dollhouse that he made for his crush in 8th grade? Dude. So she takes the dollhouse outside, cries on it, and is teleported back to 1986, where she kisses Matt, ditches Lucy, and we flash forward to this new timeline's present day where her and Matt are married and move in to a home identical to the dollhouse. So we're supposed to believe that they started dating in middle school and then stayed together for 17 years? Imagine that. No, really, imagine someone fighting to stay with you despite all the changes you go through during those years. Imagine someone wanting to stay with you even after seeing you at your absolute worst because they just think that you at your absolute best is worth it. Imagine somebody always being there to listen so you don't have to air out your deepest thoughts in an unrelated YouTube video about a dumb movie. So that was 13 going on 30, and to reiterate, it's great if you like this movie, but to me, a lot of the jokes either felt overdone or too problematic by today's standards to find very funny. But justice, you might say. You're making fun of this beloved movie for being problematic, but doesn't one of your favorite franchises have main characters that defend the enslavement of an intelligent species? Yeah, it does, okay? Maybe if 13 going on 30 had more epic wizard battles, I'd be more forgiving. Or maybe we're just naturally gonna be more forgiving to the problematic aspects of something we have fond childhood memories of. And as long as we acknowledge where it went wrong, we should still be able to enjoy the areas where we think it holds up. Except for with Friends, which was never funny.